So this is definitely going to be a bit of an adventure, not the least because I just had that little bit of a, shall we say, dodgy launching. It was just a little bit steep, a little bit muddy, so I just had to be a little bit more careful launching, but we made it onto the water, which was good. It's my first time doing like a multi-day adventure on the paddleboard. So I've got all my camping gear with me. I've got some campsites booked to stop at along the way, but it's probably going to be the longest time that I've spent on the paddleboard before. So I've done like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours in the past, but I've not done like 5-6 hours and then 5-6 hours the next day either. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to go. I'm not quite sure whether I've packed all the right stuff or secured it all okay to my board, but you know, we'll see how it goes, I think. So I'm on the River Bure, and the plan is today to paddle down to a place called Horstead, near Cotteshall. I've got a campsite booked there for the night. It's about 15 kilometres, I think, of paddling. So what? I've got no idea how long that's going to take me, but we're going downstream, so we're going with the water, so that'll make it a bit easier at least. The weather is a bit overcast, it's not really sunny. It was forecast rain quite a bit, but it looks like it's going to hold off now until later in the evening, so we should have quite a dry session on the paddleboard, I think. Well, as long as I don't fall in. I'm quite excited to spend such a long time on the water, and if it's anything like the start, it's going to be a bit of an adventure, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So we've been paddling for about two and a half hours now, and we've just come across the first portage. So it's just a bit where you have to take everything out of the river, get over the obstacle, and then get into the other side. Just because it's this old lock that, I don't know, you just can't paddle past it, so you've got to lug everything around to the other side. But I thought it was a good opportunity to just have a bit of a drink, have a rest, and just assess how far I am along on the route today, which looks like we're about a third of the way. So I've got 2/3 left to do, so another probably a good 4 hours of paddling left to do. But the weather's holding up nicely. We've had a few drizzles, but actually it's, you know, it's not too windy, it's not wet, it's not too hot either, so it's a nice day for paddling, really. So I think we're about 2/3 of the way done for today, if not maybe even 80% done. So I think we've only got like another hour maybe of paddling to do. I've just passed the last of the 3 portages, which is good because they just really take it out of you. So I'm glad that the next time I get off the board I should be getting off onto the campsite. So yeah, the campsite, the end of today's paddling's in Horstead. I've got a campsite booked, so I'm just going to get my head down and get some paddling done, and yeah, then I'll be setting up camp. I made it to the campsite. I made it here about 6 o'clock, I think it was. So it was a good probably 6.5 hours of paddling today, which, yeah, that's a lot of paddling. It's the most paddling I've done in one day, and it does feel quite tiring actually. My body's actually quite tired and aching in certain parts. But I'm at the campsite, so I can get some rest. I'm going to have a walk down into the village, into Horstead and Cottishall, just because I think there's a couple of pubs, hopefully, that I'll be able to get some food. So yeah, I've set the camp up now, so I'll get some food, have a drink, and get some sleep, I suppose, because tomorrow we have another long day of paddling ahead of us. So yeah, that'll be interesting. So we're back on the water now for day 2 of paddling, and we're leaving Horstead where we camped, and we're going to continue downstream to Wroxham, and just past Wroxham there's a place called Salhouse Broad, and there's a campsite there that we're booked in. So another, I think it's probably going to be another 6 hours of paddling, but should be quite nice paddling actually. The river's starting to open up a bit more now. We've got one portage to do quite quickly. I think it's going to be in the first half an hour, but that's the only portage that we've got to do. But after that, that's actually where motorboats are allowed on the river, so might be a few waves being thrown up by them, but I'm sure it'll be okay. The weather's not looking quite as good for today. I think we've got all morning where it's going to be dry, hopefully, but in the afternoon we're going to get some light rain most probably, and it's probably going to be a wet camp at the end of the day. I think it's raining most of the evening, so yeah, we'll get paddling and we'll try and make some distance up while we've got some dry weather. So I've just pulled up to the side of the bank here. Just found a little bit of cover under these trees because it is raining a little bit. It's started to drizzle on and off now, so I think that's what it's going to be like for the rest of the day. But I've been paddling for about 3 hours now, and yeah, I sort of just wanted a break as well, sit down, have a drink, and sort of just chill out for a little bit, have a rest. I don't feel like any of my muscles ache, but I can just feel like I'm paddling with less power today, so I think I'm going a little bit slower, and it's probably because I've already done a whole day of paddling. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a little break here and we'll start paddling again. So I've just found myself a little perch just to have a little sit down on, because we've just come out of just come through the other side of Wroxham now, and it's been another sort of pretty much 3 hours of paddling nearly. So that's nearly 6 hours of paddling altogether, and I'm starting to feel really tired actually. And I think there's a bit of a headwind has just picked up, not a strong one but a little bit, and yeah, it's making it just that little bit harder than it needs to be. But I think we've only got probably another hour of paddling to get to Salhouse Broad, so I'm just gonna have a rest here for a moment and yeah, have a drink and yeah, we'll be at the campsite soon. So here we are, I've made it to Salhouse Broad, the end of paddling for day 2, which I'm pretty pleased about actually. I arrived here about 5:30, so it was a good long day of paddling today. So I've changed into some dry clothes now and I'm just feeling pretty hungry and tired really, so I'm going to see if the pub around the corner is serving food still, and yeah, I'm just going to go to sleep then afterwards. And in the morning I think we'll do a bit of a debrief and I'll just talk about how I found the whole adventure really. So it absolutely lashed it down last night. It's been ages since I've been in rain like that in a tent, and yeah, it was just really loud, so it kept me up like most of the night. But I thought I'd just take a moment to talk about the whole little adventure that I've done. And overall, I've really enjoyed it actually. The River Bure is a really good paddle. There's a couple of portages at the start, obviously, or on that first day, but the second day I just had one portage, and the river really opened up as well. So yeah, it was a really nice river to paddle actually. I think I did prefer the first day of paddling, just because it seems more of like a quiet, quaint river, as opposed to the second day, particularly as you get like into Wroxham and the other side of Wroxham. It was just really busy. Like there was just loads of massive boats everywhere, and it sort of, at parts, it started to feel a bit more like a road than a river. So Yeah, I think I preferred the first day, but in the second day there were still nice bits in between boats not going past where, you know, you had this massive wide river all to yourself, and yeah, there was definitely bits of that I really liked as well. As for paddleboard touring, it was sort of my first time doing that, and I really enjoyed it actually. I've done bike packing and I've done some sort of long distance walks, and yeah, on the board was good. Obviously, you don't have the weight to carry. It doesn't feel like you've got the weight to carry. So yeah, it didn't feel like I was going too much slower than just paddling on the board anyway. So, and all the stuff has stayed dry as well. So that's probably the more important thing, isn't it? I don't feel too physically exhausted. Like compared to doing a longer walk or a longer bike ride, I definitely don't feel like as physically drained, and my muscles aren't as sore at all. I'm probably more exhausted and tired from the rain last night keeping me up all night. So if it wasn't raining, I'd probably feel pretty well rested by now. Yeah, it's definitely felt like a great little adventure. Um, it's an activity that I've not done as much, in a place I've not been to as much as well. So overall, I'd say I really enjoyed it actually, and I would definitely recommend to anybody else, get a paddling board, grab some camping stuff, and do a bit of paddle touring. Yeah, it's something I'm going to be doing a lot more of, hopefully.